It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. You donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. Ooh, college football's heating up, folks. This is going to be a November to remember. Look at all the drama. Look at all of the discussion. Look at all the debate. Look at the. This is going to get wild, and it's going to get complicated. And I'm telling you, I don't know, you guys, whether. Good morning, Angela. Good to see everybody here. Thanks for being here. We got a few callers here. We're going to get to you. I don't know whether the playoff committee's job is going to get easier or harder the further down the road in November we go, right? Like, that's what I've been thinking about since the rankings came out last night. Is I'm not sure whether this is going to get easier or harder for them, whether the answers are just going to come to them naturally with, like, if what's going to happen with the rest of this schedule, teams cancel each other out and this team beats that team and everybody slots in a very logical position, or if the SEC ends up with everybody with 2 losses and then what do you do with who? And they're all in the SEC and they all have 2 losses. And what are we going to do? Like, I don't know. I just don't know. That was my final thought last night, is I don't know whether this project's going to get harder or easier for this group trying to navigate and parse all this stuff out. And so some of what this committee did seems very logical and makes perfect sense. And then there's some other things you can nitpick and you can debate about how they arrived there, what we did there. Like, I know SMU is the big one. Everybody thinks probably is getting screwed the most with where they're at and whatever. And that's a debate. Somebody's got to explain to me why Penn State seems to just get so much national credit no matter what all the time, and they never win anything and they never beat anyone. I genuinely cannot understand it. They get pumped up every preseason. They're always talked about, this is the year they're going to rise up, blah, 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 blah. They never beat anyone good. Penn State never wins a game you're impressed with. They never beat any good team ever. They never beat any good team ever. And yet Penn State right there, like, and listen, Indiana hasn't beat anybody I'm impressed with either. Indiana's had, for a Big Ten team, Indiana's been playing high schools, though. Yeah, I can't believe they're this far down the road and they haven't played anybody good, Indiana. But at least they're not playing anybody good and they're undefeated. Penn State had one chance to do something and they didn't do it. They're still getting valued. So, like, you could debate that. I don't know, you guys. It's going to get really, really interesting. Chief says Penn State is Notre Dame 2015. I've been saying Penn State is Notre Dame under Brian Kelly all the time. It's so annoying for me to say it, but it's still it's boring to say it because I've been saying it so many years. Penn State under James Franklin equals identically Notre Dame Brian Kelly. Not elite recruiting, but pretty darn good. You're going to beat most, if not all, the teams you should beat just based on your talent, and then you're going to lose. Once you get everybody excited and bought in and you build it up to where you really think something different's going to happen, they play a big marquee game, and then they lose. Rinse and repeat. It's Brian Kelly, Notre Dame, Penn State, but for some reason, they just keep getting ranked high at preseason, and then now I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Penn State's only beaten one team above 500. I just can't. I don't get it. Now, you're going to get answers here because Indiana and Ohio State play each other. I think there's a bye week and then they play next. So you're going to get a real answer here on Indiana's level playing that talent at Ohio State. But I don't trust James Franklin. His face bothers me. He carries himself like he's accomplished way more than he has. There's something about the whole thing bothers me. The Penn State cult bothers me. And I just don't they're just kind of boring. I don't understand what the big fascination is with Penn State every day. It's really freaking annoying. I hate it. So I don't know. So thanks for being here, everybody. I do appreciate it. We got a lot to go over. So open phone lines, and I want to know a couple different things today. I want to know, number one is, what do you guys make of the CFP rankings release? Obviously, that's on the board here to discuss. And then I want to start talking about Senior Day in Notre Dame and what we have going on. And listen, I got problems with this Virginia game too. It is a very, very weird setup with this Virginia game. So I want to get into all the feel. I'm having a hard time when I'm trying to do my preview articles and do my research to do the preview video for the game and whatever. I'm really struggling to I'm struggling to settle my mind on exactly where I think Virginia is as a threat to Notre Dame and a program. Their evidence, their body of work is up and down and up and down. They're so inconsistent. They have spurts of playing really competitive, good football, and other times where they look terrible. I'm just not quite sure what I'm going to get out of this Virginia football team. And so I want to talk about that with you guys too. And so it's just, there's a lot going on. And you know, the other thing is, this is a good place to start for the day. When you're looking at all these conferences and the conference title games and all those teams positioning themselves for what this is going to be the end of November and how this goes and everything, you know, I don't really mind where Notre Dame's at, sitting there with 3 winnable games left, and that's it. And then you let everybody else beat each other out and see what happens, and then do a conference champ. I feel like Notre Dame's in a pretty safe spot as long as you just keep winning. But there's some comments in here I highlighted. Some of you guys brought up some really creative stuff that I wanna bring up. Brian's saying, make the trip, John. We'll live stream from the parking lot. I don't even want to jinx ourselves. Somebody will cut this up, and probably an LSU media person, for as hard of a time as I've been giving them this last week, they'll probably cut this up and make it a YouTube short. Should Notre Dame end up hosting a game, I'm going to do something from town. Me and Goolsby are doing something. We're already working on it. We're going to a bar, renting a back room. Like, we're doing something somewhere where we're doing a live show somewhere. I have got to have a taste of this. So if this happens, we're doing something. This is history. But you got to win 3 games first. Sid Irish. LSU, who? Yeah, the governor's taking shots at Brian Kelly. Man, it didn't take long. The message board geniuses, you know, the people that leak what's going on behind all these private boards for all the schools, they're saying behind the scenes, the donors don't like Brian Kelly, but they don't want it to be public yet, but nobody can stand him. Yeah, you think? Wow, there's a revelation. His own wife doesn't like him. Why would anybody else? For Pete's Dragon, give me a break. Even the governor's taking shots at him. I love it. 100%. As always, thanks for being here. You can find the program on YouTube. Do it, subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out as well. Notifications on that way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish, Always Irish Inc. If you want to see my latest battle with the LSU media, go over there. It's really annoying. All I need to stop my relentless crusade against the LSU media is for them to just admit, yeah, we're questioning BK and what direction this is all going, and then I'll stop. That's it. That's all I want. I don't want some long debate. It isn't about, is Freeman better than Kelly? It isn't about the recruiting, which is apples and oranges, comparing what LSU could do in the area of the country they're in, and you don't have to read to go there, and everything else. And then it isn't about any of that stuff. It ain't about any of that stuff. It's just about them finally admitting maybe, just maybe we weren't lying and we were right to tell them you better, this is no guarantee and you may have problems because there's something wrong with this guy. All I want is for one of these guys to admit maybe these Notre Dame people were right. We are a little anxious about where this is headed. That's all I need, but they can't do it and they won't do it. And they're skirting around it. They're finding other ways to reference the roster and things that need to get better and cleaned up. But it's all this peripheral stuff rather than starting in the middle and going out. They're starting at the periphery to avoid the main thing. That's all I need to stop my crusade of trolling them is just admit you're at the point now where you're starting to question what direction this is going and why you can't win a big game. That's all I need to hear, and I'm done. I just need them to admit it. I need him to admit it. Whatever, man. So that's where I'm at with this stuff. But whatever. Nobody cares about NIU anymore. It doesn't matter at all. Well, it definitely matters. If Notre Dame didn't lose that game, they'd be undefeated in the number 5 seed. So it matters. What do you mean it doesn't matter? It definitely matters. If you didn't lose that game, you'd be the number 5 seed probably. And then like you'd be, I don't know. I mean, I think it kind of matters. All right. I got a couple of these chats that I got to get to, and then we'll go to the calls. Philly special $2 holler. You buying that party bus? Did you guys see that picture? I put it on Twitter. I put it on here too on the community tab. Dude, me and Goolsby have talked about it. In a dream world, getting literally a party mobile bus, getting the logo on it, bringing that baby to South Bend. It has a bar in it and then a recording area in it. We would set it up so you could record right in it. You could party in it. You could travel in it. It would be beautiful. Jay Carr says John needs to buy a short bus. I'm not even mad. Isn't it just, it's perfect. Picture me with my leprechaun mask and I'm driving a short bus. I'm pulling into the parking lot, tailgating at Notre Dame. It honestly fits perfect. I'm not even mad. Oh, that's funny. Oh, Phil, that's so funny. Hunter Peterson, $5 holler. I'm going to be at the game Saturday. Is there any aspect about Virginia that makes you nervous? Virginia is so weird to get a grasp on. I was going through their stats. I'm going to go through some of this. I was going through some of their record and their stats, and I'm really struggling, Hunter, to figure out what the exact levels of this all are. Oh, number one is, God bless Jerry Faust. Really, really interesting, a very, very interesting part of Notre Dame history. And he didn't have the success, listen. There ain't no books called Jerry Faust and the Fighting Irish, okay, for a reason. There's no book in America called Jerry Faust and the Fighting Irish, okay? He ain't Frankie Boy. But you know what? That guy loved Notre Dame. He loved Notre Dame. And you know what? I love Notre Dame people that love Notre Dame. So God bless him and rest his soul. And I never met the man, but everybody who did has said that that he was just the nicest guy in the world, very humble and everything. And he really, really just loved Notre Dame. So God bless him and his family. Rest in peace. Really interesting part of Notre Dame history there. Adam Dowling says, where are you parking, John? Have you been to the ND parking lot? I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I'm getting mad, Adam. Adam is the one who turned me on to that North lot parking thing to get out of the congestion, to have more space. And we did it the first year and it was easy to get in and out, not that busy. And now Adam's saying there's a line around the block of people doing it every game, pissing me off. Everybody go to the stadium lot, leave my spot alone so I could get some breathing room, pissing me off. Okay? Unbelievable. SPF, it's good to have you back. I realize it's been a long week for you, probably. Who said BK to LSU is a failure? It's only his 3rd season in the SEC. Please, somebody tell me what Freeman has done differently. Beat some teams BK beat with all that. You know what I hear, SPF? Excuses. What? You just ignored what I just said. Are all LSU people programmed the same? You all go to the same lame stuff, man. You guys got to get new material. I just said it has nothing to do with Marcus Freeman. It has to do with I don't know why they have to be linked. I never said when Kelly left LSU, I never said this guarantees Notre Dame's winning the championship. Focus on your man you wanted that you said was awesome. It has nothing to do with what Freeman's doing. That is a lame deflection by LSU people. Look at Kelly. Look at Kelly. He ain't trending in the right direction. He ain't trending in the right direction. Follow me here, SPF. If Kelly had the exact same overall record he does, follow me here. If he had the exact same overall record he has now, but it was incrementally building up, this would be a totally different discussion. Like if he went 7-5 the first year and then 9-3, if he had the exact same record he has, but it was gradually trending up, that's a different discussion. You're trending down. You're trending down. And that should be concerning. You're not even competitive at home. SPF, what about Death Valley? It's so scary. Nobody could play here. We got a live tiger. Rawr. What about all that stuff? I'm getting really sick of hearing it. Oh, it's Death Valley. Ooh, oh, I'm shaking in my Alabama was shaking in their boots to go to Death Valley. There was a live tiger on the field. Oh my God. What happened to that? What happened to that? How does 300 recruits like that? So I'm just saying, it's really interesting to me, the mental gymnastics. The LSU media contingent always is operated every damn year. We need to be in the conversation for the SEC championship and title contention. This is LSU. This is the standard. Look at all the talent. This is the resources, the standard at LSU. And it should be. I'm giving LSU a compliment. I'm giving LSU an honest-to-God compliment. Their standard should be competing for that SEC title and the playoff championship hunt with their talent access in that part of the country and the resources that LSU gives you institutionally. There's no reason not to be in the mix. Now what's happening is, SPF, you're deflecting. You keep talking about our guy instead of your guy. It's kind of telling me you're proving my point for me. You're proving my point for me. This is getting to be a bad look. The more I dig out on Kelly, the more you deflect. It's looking about Kelly, man. I got your own radio people, your own writers, your own YouTube people are asking, why is he golfing so much and not recruiting? Well, I know they got a good class coming, but they're already complaining about the guy golfing too much. I heard it on your local radio show, 104.5 ESPN or whatever. They're already complaining about the guy golfing. I'm just saying, you trend in the wrong way. You trend in the wrong way. And whatever, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. John, I'm not like the others. You bring Kelly up in your sleep. Yeah, the guy bugs me. He's a professional gaslighter. He is the ultimate politician. It is really annoying. Nobody likes people like that. He does not ever tell you the truth. Everything is an angle to make his ego look better. It's really annoying. And I'm waiting for the LSU people to figure it out. He did this whole speech about, after this game, SPF, he did this whole talk about, again, I'm talking about your man. Our guy is learning how to be a head coach. Your guy has 45 years on the job. You are not comparing apples to apples. Again, the mental gymnastics you're going through is really upsetting. You're better than this. You're comparing a guy in year one of his coaching career to a guy with 45 years of experience. It's foolish. You can't do it. And so you can't make that comparison. And SPF, if you want to look at the top 25 records, Brian Kelly's already way behind Marcus Freeman in top 25 wins. It's not even close. It's not even close. You're looking at like 10-4 by Freeman and 4-8 by Kelly. You're trending the wrong way. You're upside down on all this. And the other excuse I hear is, well, I don't want to make this all about Kelly. I'm really annoyed. I'm really annoyed by it. But he did this whole rant about this isn't the standard. This isn't the LSU standard. There's a standard to play. We need to coach better. There's a standard here. SPF, he gave the same speech at Notre Dame and said that about Notre Dame 50 times. There's nothing new with this dude, man. You got to wake up and understand you're being gaslit at the podium. And I thought you fancy big football brand SEC people would be too smart to fall for it. Don't fall for it. Don't let him gaslight you. Ronald McDonald, dude, you are obsessed with Brian Kelly. Yeah, I don't like the man. You got a problem with it? You got a problem with it? Make me a Happy Meal. I don't give a crap. How about that, Ronald? Put on your wig and make me a Happy Meal. I'll do whatever I want. And so, I'm enjoying this fully, but let's get back to Jerry Faust dying. That's a brighter subject. Let's get back to one of our old coaches dying in the playoff. I'm done talking about Kelly. I'm done talking about Kelly for now. Okay. And I will say this though. Really good recruiting class Kelly's got lined up here. Good recruiting class. I mean, you got to give him credit for that. The place recruits itself. It's largely not him. It's his staff. But he's smart enough to put himself in a place where you could operate that way in golf 24/7, have your staff recruiting and all that local talent that's going to go to you no matter what. So it's perfect. It's perfect for a guy that wants to golf more than recruit. He gets credit for that because he's the head guy. But you still got to make it work on the field. You got to make it work on the field. John has BKDS, Brian Kelly derangement syndrome. You ain't wrong. That guy has messed me up permanently, ruined my hairline. The doctor's concerned about my stroke level, my blood pressure. It's because of that guy. You're damn right I got derangement syndrome. He's ruined the last dozen years of my life. What are you talking about? How could you not have derangement syndrome? He's ruined 12 years of my existence by gaslighting us and lying to us. He don't even like Notre Dame. Brian Kelly hates Notre Dame. You kidding me? He doesn't even like Notre Dame. He left Notre Dame resenting Notre Dame, hating the fan base, looked down on everybody. He didn't like Notre Dame. What has Freeman done? I'll tell you this, SPF. I actually feel like he wants to be here and he tries hard. That alone makes me respect him more than that politician clown riding a jet ski and letting eagles fly around down there in the bayou, okay? How about that? How about that? Nice guy, and he tries hard, and he treats people the right way. That alone makes me respect him more. Brian Kelly's down. Oh, I got a jet ski. Oh, you will raise you up on eagle's wings. He's releasing eagles into nature. Win a football game. Son of a buck. All right, I'm done talking about him. Let me yell about some other stuff. SPF, you are making yourself appear foolish. You are completely deflecting Brian Kelly's embarrassment. It's a bad look, dude. You got to step out and look at how this looks. I'm asking you what you feel about your guy you gave a 10-year deal to, embarrassing your entire state and fan base at your place that's supposed to be the toughest place to play in America, and then the third quarter it was emptied out. You're talking about our guy. I'm telling you, it's a bad look. It's a bad look. You need to start looking inward and quit deflecting. Worry about your own stuff, not mine. Have fun in the Cheez-Its Bowl. Maybe you'll turn it on and win that one. Jerry Faust, God bless his soul. Callers, I'm coming to you. Here we are. All right. I'm not even gonna do what I said. My notes, because now I wasted too much time yelling about Kelly again. So let me do a couple of these chats and a couple of the really good points. Then I'm coming to the calls, and you guys could have the day. And I highlighted a couple of these early. Domer Guy 88. Morning, ladies and gents. I feel like Mitch Evans can unlock another dimension of the offense. It's on my list. It's on my list when I'm looking at what can Notre Dame add for this final regular season run and then the playoff. And if Evans could be a weapon again, that'd be great. And I thought Evans and Raridan, foolishly, I thought we like to use the tight ends. These guys should be in the mix or whatever, and they really haven't been. So whether they needed to stay in to block to help with the offensive line issues early in the year, or whether they were not fully healthy, they have not been big targets. If you could get Evans going again and make him a big target, it's a big weapon we really haven't had this year. Added dimension for the playoff or these remaining 3 games. I love it. Also, Domer guy, Freeman and the staff on player development. Not only good call, not only player development, but the targeting of some of these players. Many of them were not highly ranked, didn't have 5-star status or whatever. They get to Notre Dame and then they develop, and they're some of our best players. Really, really, you got to give them a good job. Good job on that. The commander can't knock what the team and coaches have done since NIU. Nothing better. Even think about standing in the way of a playoff game. ESPN projects ND to face Tennessee at Tennessee if the playoffs were tomorrow. You guys, you know what I don't understand? I don't understand how we get these playoff rankings and then everybody's like, look at this matchup, look at that matchup. Who would win this one? Who's the home seed and the away seed? I'm not doing that at all till the last one. It's pointless. All of these rankings are going to change. Am I missing something? You got to tell me, am I missing the point? Are some of these rankings not going to change no matter who wins or loses? Or I don't understand how everybody's all fixated on what these matchups would be when I think they're going to change every week. Who matches up with who until the last one? So I'm not wasting 1 minute thinking about this crap till I got to worry about it. Mikey Poles, pretty sure John's real job at SI is working on the swimsuit editions. Mikey, it's so funny, man. You know what I do all day. I write 3 articles about Notre Dame every day of my life, 365 days a year. It's really not that romantic and sexy, man. I literally just come up with ideas and write 3 articles a day about Notre Dame. That's it. It isn't that fancy. I'm not getting, that's another part of the business, and I'm not included in it. Let's put it that way. If ND could beat USC at USC, ND is legit to make a playoff run. It's going to be a challenge, and it's just a tough. There's something about traveling west, that sleepy Thanksgiving weekend. I feel like everybody's laying around on the couch. There's like this countrywide hangover. And then you're going all the way out there, out west. There's no energy in the stadium. It's a weird vibe, man. When we end out there, it's a very, very weird vibe. I don't love it. I don't love it. Hey, John Hopewell as well, 80s guy. How was a 1-loss Penn State team ranked ahead of Indiana, who's undefeated? Brand name bias, I guess. I'm just not impressed. Neither of them have beat anybody I'm impressed with, so I have no idea. It's people love Penn State. I don't get it. And Indiana's going to have their chance to prove it all when they play Ohio State next week. So you're going to get that. This is an interesting one by Mikey. I don't know how I feel about this, Mikey. Also, Indy needs to keep looking good. I know this committee's just waiting for Notre Dame to look bad against a bad team. They won't hesitate to jump Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss over them. See, that was something on my list of big takeaways here is so far that committee is kind of honored, even though it's SEC, the 2-loss below a 1-loss. They've kind of honored that. Let's see if that holds. You know, I would want to think if Notre Dame just keeps winning, they'll be able to hold serve there in that ranking, the 2-loss to 1-loss. Let's see. I want to see if there's a tipping point to where they go, hey, 2 losses in the big bad SEC is better than 1 loss independent or somewhere else. I want to see how that plays out. Also, 80s guy. The seniors' tears don't get in their eyes and mess up their vision. Like Lou Oltz used to say, it's always something I'm going to bring up on senior day. You got to navigate the emotions of hugging your mom and dad and then going out there and cracking some people in the dome, right? And so how do you navigate those emotions? The good news is, look it up. Marcus Freeman's had 2 blowouts on senior day, so they're doing a pretty good job of navigating that so far in Freeman's tenure. And then look at this. Callers, I'm coming to you. God, I love you guys. Thanks for waiting. I'm sorry I yelled for a half hour. No, I'm not that sorry, but I'm sorry you had to wait through it. Morning, C. Jones, Mike Jones, who? C. Jones. No sleepy ND for senior day. Here's something I'm going to say. Thought about this too. Kind of reminds me of, I don't know why this year's in my head, 2012 Wake Forest senior day. Notre Dame won 38-0. It was sleepy senior day, late November, bad Wake Forest team, like whatever. But the place was popping because Notre Dame was undefeated and you're trending towards like you think you're in contention for a title. We learn later on you were just pretenders, but in the moment you were undefeated. It's the final home game. It should be loud and proud. So I don't care that this is an afternoon game and not a night game, and Virginia doesn't excite anybody. Virginia Slims maybe would excite people more than this. If the crowd's laying for this, you're losers. What is wrong with you? It's your last chance to see your home team that's in line to compete for a playoff run, and what are you going to do? Sit on your hands with some hot chocolate? Get out of here. If you're going to do that, this is your last chance to send the team off to go win these games and make a playoff run. If you can't get off your ass and cheer, what are we doing? Why do you exist? Why are you alive if that's how you're doing this? Why do you want to spend your day in Notre Dame? I don't know. It's kind of cold. I'm going to sit on my hands and I don't want any. What are you wrong with you? Notre Dame's truly competing, and this is your last home game of the year. Be loud and be proud, or go away. Go away. Sick of these people. Oh, this is my last chance to reunite with my law school buddies over in the local quad. We are going to discuss our stock portfolios and how my law practice is doing. And oh, there just happens to be a football game being played. Maybe we should go view some of it and yell at the young rapscallion sitting ahead of us to sit down, because I do not want to have to stand during a football game. This is uncivilized. Please pass the gray poupon. Get out of my stadium. We're having ourselves a roaring start to this day. Watching Virginia. They have talent, but they're very inconsistent in discipline. I don't understand it. You know, I'm sick of people saying, oh, John, they beat Pitt. Who gives you what's a big deal? Who cares if you beat Pitt? Is Pitt the new Georgia? All the time, every time I say I ain't scared to know Virginia, I go, oh, they beat Pitt. Oh, boy. Wow. Is Pitt the new Georgia? Who gives a crap if you beat Pitt? Big deal. Since when is beating Pitt mean you're somebody? 10 people have said, oh, well, John, they just beat Pitt. Whoop-de freaking do. Is Pitt loaded with talent? What am I missing? Oh, John, they had a decent record. Yeah, in the shit ACC. Nobody's scared of Pitt. It doesn't move the needle to me. And if you want to take that, they got blown out by North Carolina before that. So which is it? Oh, man, John's shaking at his boots because they beat Pitt. Wow, yeah, real beacon of talent on that roster, Pitt. Whoa, I'm super impressed. You got blown out by North Carolina. You got losses to Clemson, losses to Louisville. You lost to Maryland. And I'm supposed to sit here on the edge of my seat worried about Virginia? I ain't worried about Virginia. I'm worried about how Notre Dame plays against Virginia. Those are different damn things. Those are different things. I am not worried about Virginia. I'm worried about how Notre Dame plays against Virginia. Don't get it twisted. Those ain't the same thing. The governor of Louisiana calls out BK. That guy finds himself in some weird positions, bro. He finds himself in some weird positions. It is just bizarre. The governor's questioning the head football coach, and they're discussing the decision to have a live tiger on the field. Like, just only Brian Kelly could find himself in that situation. It's just a funny, the live tiger and the jet ski and the Eagles wings thing. I just couldn't believe. There he is, Brian Kelly, wilderness man. He rehabbed this eagle. What did Brian Kelly do? Chew up a worm and drop it in the mouth of the baby bird? What are you talking about? An eagle release? Are you out of your mind? He will raise you up on eagle's wings. He will ruin the standards of LSU football. What are we doing? It's the anniversary of the 3 Virginia football players that got shot 22. We got to be on point. They will be inspired. Jay, that's a really horrible, unfortunate tragedy. What's the limit, the statute of limitations on how many years you have that cannot be a reason that I'm going to be scared of this. God bless those families. Like, awful thing. I'm not minimizing it, but no, I ain't doing it. All right. I got that out of the way. And Ronald McDonald says, here we go again. Here we go again. Brian Kelly's in John's head. Listen, you got to tell me who's in whose head when he's the one on a burner account coming at me on Twitter. I am a Twitter troll for a living. Do you not understand that, Ronald? I literally am an internet troll for a living with what I do with the content. This is all a part of it. Brian Kelly's running this program and he's on a burner talking to me on Twitter. So you tell me who's obsessed with who. This is my job. You tell me who's obsessed with who. He's the one on the burner talking to me. And I'm obsessed with him? Why is he on a burner talking to me? This is my job. His job isn't to worry about idiots like me, but there he is. For the 80th time, have you ever seen the McAfee show where they exposed his burner and showed me on there that Kelly's responding to? Go look it up. Go look it up. If it's wrong, it was on ESPN and the McAfee show too. Go look up the episode. Type in Brian Kelly Burner McAfee show, and he's responding to me from this account that's logged into another account that's Brian Kelly's Instagram. That's it. Go YouTube it. McAfee show, Kelly Burner, and it's right there. So whatever, man. Dr. John, you're on the air.
Well, I'm trying to come up with my best bedside manner voice for you. So here it is. Take 2 Miller Lights and call me in the morning.
Yeah. You know, man, maybe I need to switch to decaf or something, I think.
No. You know, I was really upset Monday. I thought I laid a real gem in there. Nobody noticed it. You didn't say anything about it. But so let's talk Virginia.
Okay.
What I said was, let's savor that win on Saturday, but let's not get cavalier about the Virginia game. Did anybody pick up on that at all?
Oh man, that is.
I'm really before swine.
I'm really disappointed that slid by me because that's the type of clever thing that I would have caught. I must have just not seen it come through the board, man. That's really good, Doc. That's very good. I'm disappointed I missed it. That's really good. That's good.
Anyway, the other. Well, I got a lot of stuff on my agenda this morning, but let's. Did we ever hear from West Palm Beach about blowouts versus running up the score? I don't think we did we?
I'm going to say this. I saw him on a hold. I forget when it was. The last couple shows, I did see him on hold, but I wasn't able to get to him, and then the show ended. So I think he has tried to touch base. It's not like he ran away. I did see him on hold a couple of live shows ago, but I didn't get to him, and then he had to drop off. So he's still in the mix. The other question I have is, where is Andrew Gilmore? Does anybody know what happened to that guy? I haven't seen him in like a week. I'm starting to get worried because he's usually all over everybody's content, and we just haven't seen him.
Yeah, didn't somebody question that too?
Yeah, I don't know where he
Monday?
is. I think I got his email. I'm going to reach out and just make sure he's okay. It's not like him to drop off. So, but I think West Palm Pat has tried to touch base, and maybe he'll call again soon, and we'll get an updated take from him.
Okay. I watched your video yesterday and about the Love Price, having them in there at the same time. I think it's a great idea. I'd rather see it saved for the playoffs and not waste it. But not that I don't get worried about every frickin' game.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It just seems to me like a good way to make a defense have to worry about a lot more. And I just like making a defense worry about a lot more. And I like having your best playmakers on the field at the same time. I just think of it as simply as that.
Yeah, and the other thing you mentioned was you can't afford injuries. Well, I agree with you, but there's not a dang thing we can do about that.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't.
Yeah,
you know what are you going to do? You're going to sit there and worry about it, and that's about it.
Yeah. It's, you're right. But Doc, what do you make of this Virginia team? I'm really, really struggling with it. I'm being told to worry, but I'm not worried by anything I see on their record. Offensively, they are 81st in the country in points scored. Defensively, they're 82nd on points allowed. So they're right there in the low 80s on both of those. Their rush defense is pretty good. Their pass defense is bad. Like, I don't know what to make of them. They're up and they're down and they're up and they're down. I don't know.
Well, they're mediocre, and it scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, they're so up and down. I struggle to find the appropriate level of what they're going to be. I am not impressed that they beat Pitt and they got blown out by an average North Carolina team right before that. So I just have no idea what you're going to get. It's up and it's down and it's up and it's down. I don't know what to think. 22 and a half, 23 points, Notre Dame a favorite. I don't know about that, whether that's right or wrong or what we're going to do. I have no idea.
Well, we've been blowing away the point spread. I would hope we would do it again, but
yeah,
I think we just need to play our game the best we can and take care of business.
Yeah, here's the
take care of business,
Doc. We have come so far from that week 2 nightmare to this winning streak to starting to kind of kick the crap out of people. Like you're doing a really good job. You have come way too far to stop this now. Like you cannot come this far and fall short. You got to get over the finish line these remaining 3 games. And I'll tell you this, Notre Dame's kind of trending up, man. And they're not barely getting by or looking like they're leaking oil to the finish line here. Keep trending up and playing good football.
Yeah, Well, I've got a weak mind anyway, but when I can't remember who was in chat said, well, my worry order is USC, Army, Virginia. Well,
you can't get the schedule. Yeah, I was going to say the schedule's back where you got to worry about it in the inverse order because of the way the games are, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm always the next game guy.
Yeah. But
I don't,
it's
Doc. Don't talk about Army. Don't talk about SC.
Doc, it's really interesting how unique these games are. The Virginia game has a very unique feel to it this week, and see Army and everything you have that they have going this year and everything and where it's at is interesting. And then you have the whole USC thing going out west. This is a really interesting finishing slate for Notre Dame, and it's games you should win. And so I'm excited to see it, but you can't fall short now. You've come way too far.
What's the weather supposed to be?
Supposed to be low 50s and mild. I wrote an article on that. That's my Monday staple is what is the weather for the Notre Dame game, the early weather, and then I do one later in the week. Low 50s, wind under 10, pretty mild.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so latest rankings, Tennessee at Tennessee, right?
That's what it looked like. I don't get all twisted about these brackets because they're all going to change. So I mean, it's a fun exercise to imagine these matchups, but I'm not all wrapped up about it. I think Notre Dame's defense would cause that Tennessee quarterback some issues myself if we matched up with them. Doc, I can't let you leave with your Notre Dame history or whatever and get through this call without asking you, what's your take on Jerry Faust? Like that was before John's time here, little young John. I would like to know what your thoughts are on Jerry Faust. Very unique person in Notre Dame football history for a lot of reasons. Not all of them great, by the way.
He's the only head football coach I ever wrote a letter to.
Interesting. See, I knew I got good instincts. I knew asking you about him was the right thing to do. What was the nature of this? I don't want to get too personal, but.
Well, no, it was stupid. He was changing the color of the home jerseys from navy to a royal blue. And that here I get upset with so many people screaming about tradition when something changes, like when they expanded the stadium. I had somebody in my Notre Dame Minnesota club complaining. I said, "Hey man, you've got 30,000 more seats, 30,000 more chances to get a ticket." But anyway, so that was a stupid letter about the uniforms. That's all. So, but I I was so happy to see him go. That's all I can say.
Yeah, but he loved loved Notre Dame. You know, everybody who interacted with him said he was a really good guy. Loved Notre Dame. So rest in peace to him.
Well, John, if he'd have really loved Notre Dame, he'd have resigned when they wanted Holtz to come in.
Interesting. Yeah, like kind of seeing that, seeing the writing on the wall and being like, okay, it's time.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, you know, I've still got that room for the 20th and 21st of December, and it's starting to look like a real possibility. And I don't know if you remember, we're supposed to get a dinner and drinks out of Joe from California.
Yeah, we're not letting him off the hook. We are making him freeze his ass off. He's got to freeze his ass off and come from California to the middle of Indiana for the week before Christmas to entertain us. We're not letting him get off the hook. He said it, and he's got to deliver.
Yeah, I pulled my park out of storage yesterday.
Man, I'm telling you, Doc, okay. This is dangerous, Doc. This is dangerous. All of this playoff talk, all this talk about who we would host and who we're matching up with. In the back of my Notre Dame mind, I'm always open to the idea we are setting ourselves up for one more big punch to the gut, because it's been my Notre Dame history for things to go that way. And I am on alert for that. And for all the LSU people that cut me up yelling about Freeman, and then they're going to highlight how I was worried about him, and then we blew our playoff chance with an easy schedule. Like, I am on alert. I am documenting it here that I know it's dangerous for us to get out of ourselves. I'm documenting it now. I hate it, but I'm doing it. I'm a part of the problem. I'm a part of the problem, but I don't like it.
I know. And the thing is, it'll be a lot easier on me. I've got more scar tissue than you do.
Yeah, and you got, well, not only do you have more scar tissue, but you have more on the plus side, Doc. That's the thing. You have to understand, and guys like my dad need to understand. I'm not old enough that I ever remember what it's like to walk around town when Notre Dame is the best. I have no feeling for what that is like, and it's what drives me to yell in this basement every day.
Okay, but I got two more things. Number one, I do not understand why BYU is only a 3-point favorite at home. I think it's Friday night, maybe. That doesn't. No, it's late Saturday night. That makes no sense to me.
What do they know? What are they trying to tell you?
I don't know. I think they're trying to tell me that they stole the game from Utah. That's what I think they're trying to tell me.
Yeah.
But anyway, here's my last item, which I think would be just hilarious. I mean, it's probably a real long shot. But anyway, so we beat Army. And then Army comes out, and who they got? UTSA. What is? I don't know what is that. Texas State. I don't know what that is.
Is it Texas San Antonio? Is that what that is, or am I making that up? I have no idea.
Yeah. Anyway, so they blow them out. Okay, and then they blow out whoever they play in the conference championship game. And they blow them out. So guess what? They get in at number 12. Okay, on the 8th of December. They get in at number 12. And then guess what happens the next Saturday? Navy beats them.
Yeah, dude.
Would that be hilarious?
It's already going to be weird if they end up in a situation where they play back to back. Couldn't that happen too? If they play and then or because Navy lost, they're out. There was a scenario where they could play 2 times in a row, right? But I think that's over now.
I don't know for sure.
Right? Because
they both under.
Because they went for a while there, they were both playing so well. It looked like they were going to play each other scheduled as the last game of the year, and then both play each other again in the conference championship game right after it. But I don't think that applies anymore, just because of the way it worked out when they were both undefeated. But what are the odds, Doc? They're right when Navy and Army both have like decent seasons. They're both on our schedule. It just makes it very interesting. Yeah, okay. Navy's out. They got They got a couple losses now. They're out. So never mind. That doesn't apply.
Yeah, I don't know. It just would be so hilarious to me. Anyway, I'll tell you what. This 12-team playoff situation has really provided a lot of excitement. So
it does.
And I think the only game that looks decent is Georgia, Tennessee this week.
I was looking at that too, man. There really isn't a lot of meat on the board here other than that game this week. So, but it'll give us something to watch. And I don't know, man. Notre Dame just needs to keep winning. And then next week you got Ohio State, Indiana. You're going to get some real answers on Indiana then. That'll be interesting.
That's what we got to do. So go take your 2 Miller Lights. Don't call me. I'll call you.
There we go. All right. Have a good one, Doc. Stay warm. See ya.
Okay, bud.
Later.
Yeah,
I think
bye-bye.
he had to put the golf clubs up for the year there. All right, callers, I'm coming right back to you. Deuce is giving Auburn trouble now. I'm telling you, man. Not only is Deuce at the Ole Miss sidelines or whatever with that old thing, but I saw that Ivan Taylor, who flipped from Notre Dame to Michigan, was being talked about flipping to Alabama. These guys just don't know. They don't know what they want to do. They're young. They're impressionable. They have I don't know what it is, but they just don't know what they want to do. I'll tell you guys something I shouldn't admit on this program, but you guys are my people. I'll admit it. Dude, I can't follow recruiting the way you need to like maximize it on your content platform. I won't do it. I need to draw a line in my sanity. And I think the Deuce thing was it. I'm not doing it, man. I just can't do it. It's the way I burn so hot and cold riding this recruiting thing with just verbals. I can't do it anymore. And I realize you do good ratings on YouTube when you do, oh my God, Notre Dame got a verbal from this guy. And then you get all the rankings and everybody gets excited and you get those rankings on YouTube and all that for your video. And then he transfers somewhere else and you're screwed and you're left holding an empty bag. Bro, I can't do it. So I'm just, for my own mental health, I am not getting wrapped up in any verbal commitments from now on with Notre Dame. 30 years of being burned by it. It never changes. Why are we never the ones at the end that get the huge 5-star flip? Why is it always from Notre Dame somewhere else? I'm sorry, you guys. Like, how many decades of misery do you have to have before you just quit punching yourself in the face by buying into this? Deuce, 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 Deuce. Yeah, it was all about Deuce, and the whole thing was about it. Now Deuce is the loose, okay? He's loose. I can't do it. So somebody else can go ahead, like Singer. You could do the recruiting thing and sit there and be unemotional about it. Fine, but I don't have that in me. I don't know how to do that. So for my mental health, I just can't. I can't get insane about these verbals anymore because it's just when has it ever worked in Notre Dame's favor in my life? For like 30 years or whatever. Like when it never has one of these high profile things. It's just. So whatever, man. I'm SPF. I'm just telling you the truth, man. The recruiting thing has never been like my lane. I've never been the guy that's like, you know why John's getting views? Because he has an inside rumor about recruiting. And I heard this guy's visiting. That's not my thing, man. I talk about how what happens makes you feel and think. I'm sorry, SPF. I just can't do it, man. I'm going to go insane. No team should want Deuce. Now, he's such a talent, though. You want him. Like the raw talent, the raw material, they're so good, people are going to want him. So I'm sorry. And SPF, dude, I appreciate you being here, man. I'm a pain in the ass and I admit it. And I am an axe to grind against your guy and I admit it. And I'm never going to not, I do admit it, man. It's over the top. Like I am uncomfortable. SPF, back up. I'm self-aware enough to know from the outside, I look psychotic sometimes with the trolling I do on Kelly. I understand that that's probably like a personality weakness on my part or whatever, but there's just something very specific about that guy and it's just a very specific thing that burns really hot for me that I can't let go. And I'm not proud of it. It's not mature. Like I don't want it to be that way. It's just where I'm at. And it's just, I'm 40 years old and that's just where I'm at. I'm not proud of it. It's not my biggest personality trait that I'm happy of, but it's just I am real petty when it comes to that guy. He made my life a living hell for over a decade, man. He did. The gaslighting, the talking down to you, the politician stuff, saying one thing but doing the next, all the excuses, the feeling that your head coach doesn't like you. That's a hard one, SPF. When you feel like the head coach of your program doesn't like the institution or the fan base he represents, that's a very, very hard thing to process as a fan. Like, SPF, that's what I want you to know, man. My feeling is that Notre Dame's head coach didn't like the fans he represented and didn't even like the institution he was at. That's very hard for me to let go. That is personal, man. He did not like Notre Dame. He did not like Notre Dame fans. He liked what Notre Dame could do for him. There is a difference between loving Notre Dame and loving what being Notre Dame's coach could do for you and your ego and your career. Those are different things. I never felt like Brian Kelly loved Notre Dame. I felt like he loved what Notre Dame could do for him. Those are different things. And no guy that's ever put himself above that lady on the dome has ever won a damn thing in Notre Dame. None of them. None of them. You look at the coaches who have won titles or not at Notre Dame. There's no one. You got to be willing to put your ego number 2, and that lady on that 16-foot gold lady on top of that dome needs to be the number one thing, not your ego. No one's ever won doing it the other way. Kelly didn't, Weiss didn't, Ty didn't. Like all these guys with these egos and stuff about them, none of them have a chance. You got to put that lady number 1, and you have no chance to have any fun, baby. Ooh, put that on a T-shirt. Put that on the T-shirt. They're not thinking of that buyout, SPF. They're not. And the reality is he's got really good recruiting class. 25 lines up great for them. 26 lines up great for the talent that's available in that area. 26 is a hot class in that Louisiana area. They're going to, here I am talking about recruiting. I could talk about other people's recruiting. It's the Notre Dame thing that drives me nuts. 25 is going to be a really talented class for Kelly. 26 is a hot talent area down there. That's going to be good. But you got to put it all together and make it work in the SEC. It isn't just accumulating the talent. You got to make it work. They're not buying that guy out, man. 10 years, $65 million. Are you out of your mind? They're not. But I do have a problem with Tiger bait or whatever. Those guys were saying, I'm looking at all this. By 26 or 27, Kelly should really have a roster to compete. You're kicking the can down to year 6 or 7 at LSU before you expect to compete. That is what I say when I say Kelly gradually lowers the bar on you and you don't even realize it's happening. SPF, I love you. You're one of my people here. I'm telling you, the number one thing is hold on to your standard and be careful of him talking you into lowering the bar. It happens little by little, week by week, loss by loss, excuse by excuse. And before you know it, he lowers the bar of what you're looking for. He does it. He's a master manipulator. He'll gradually just lower the bar of the expectations. And I got already your media talk about 26 or 27, maybe year 6 or 7 or Kelly, they'll be good enough to compete. He's already lowering the bar. Don't fall for it. Son of a gun. 515, and then we're going 859. I got a 716-574. We're going to go 515. Make it come alive. Welcome to the show.
Hey, John, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Welcome to the program, man. Hey, first-time caller. I don't have a call log from the 515 here.
Yeah, first time. Big fan of your show. Been listening to since about 4 years ago. Diehard ND fan. The whole bit. So
hey, I appreciate it. And you know what else too? Thanks for waiting, man. I'm sorry. I get off on these tangents and then I start yelling and then the Kelly thing. I really appreciate you waiting and calling me up for the first time. What's on your mind, man?
Yeah, no problem, John. Hey, I just wanted to, hear you going off on some things I really agree with you. Picking back up where you left off the Brian Kelly thing. I agree with 100% everything you say about Brian Kelly. I will never get, it'll never get old trolling him. The reason why I feel this way, I mean, everything that you said that I think needs to be added more is, he can leave, he can go to LSU, he can go wherever he wants. He was fine to do that, but it's how he left. He tried to take all the coaches, all the players. He tried to destroy Notre Dame football. I mean, if you want to leave and go to LSU for a paycheck, that's fine. when you try to destroy Notre Dame football, no, you're dead to me forever.
You know what? Here's what I'm going to say to this. I know a lot of people in my life personally and from this show that is one of their biggest things they're mad about with Kelly. I was more relieved because I was ready for this divorce to happen for years. And I was more like, I don't care what's happening. I am relieved that this is happening because we all needed a change. And Kelly wasn't happy and the fans weren't happy and Notre Dame wasn't happy. I was just glad we were getting the change and I wasn't so worried about what it looked like and how it went. So I think I differ on this than a lot of people because that night on Twitter, it was one of the busiest nights on Twitter I've ever had in 15 years on Twitter. It was outrageous. There were a lot of Notre Dame fans that were really offended with how that happened. And I was looking at it the other way going, you just got a gift because it was time for this divorce to happen. It's finally happening. And I was less cared about what it looked like. But that's just me. But I understand that people took that the wrong way. The little 7-minute meeting with the players and moving in the middle of the night and all that slimy little Kelly stuff.
No, that's a great point, John. I love that. You know, you're right. You were talking about it long before it happened, so you did see that happening. You know, I think from where I was, a lot of us we kind of saw we were getting frustrated with him at the end, but just how it happened that soon. I was thinking like, it was going to be a big 5-year rebuild. So I think you're right. Hindsight was obviously that night was a great night, really. But the second thing I want to talk about, John, and then I'll let you go. But all these years, I've been, I'm almost 41, so I'm similar to your age. I can remember watching, the 9 years old was a '93 season for me. So I remember Notre Dame, Florida State. I remember all that. I remember Boston College. But all these 30-some years of watching Notre Dame football, and you mentioned it earlier. I don't remember how they, them peaking in November. Yep. Right. Even 2012, they undefeated. How many years they undefeated? They had a great year, but usually by November we're kind of squeaking by wins. We're kind of hanging on there, and it's not really feeling right. Like it feels like we are actually peaking. We're actually getting better every week. I can't remember that happening.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And you know what else that does show? Number one, it does show. I am proud of the depth on this team. I was really fearing that when you had the offensive line injuries, like, with the Purdue game, you lost a couple linemen, then you had the defensive guys go down, then Morrison. Mm-hmm. I kept waiting for the drop-off to happen. Week by week, I'm going, when are we going to start noticing that the backups can't hang the way these frontline guys are and having a drop down? And you really have not seen that they have taken that next man up thing and really made it work. And I'm not seeing a drop-off. Now, here's what I do need to say to be fair and balance this out is, we got to be honest. We have not played the toughest. This middle part of the schedule has not been against great opponents or the toughest teams. True. And I want to be honest about that. We have not played a murderer's row, but I will say this. If you're not playing a slate of really good teams, the best way you show you're good against those teams is to kick the crap out of them, which is what we're doing. Right? Like it's not exactly. It's not to half-ass it.
We didn't even do that in the previous years.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Also credit to the new strength and conditioning operation and all of that setup. That was a big deal when you switched out strength and conditioning and you got the guy from the NFL. And how is it going to translate? And is his program going to work here with college kids and not pro guys? It looks like it is because these guys are holding up well into November. So good job. That's a good return on that in year one.
Absolutely. Yeah. So after, all good things, after that NIU loss, it was looking, obviously the ND football world was going to end there. And I just can't believe how Marcus Freeman and his coaching staff has turned this around and how we're, like you said, obviously the schedule, time will tell. So, we all could have a, egg on our face here, before things are over. But I just can't believe how we're feeling right now.
Can I ask you something? This is kind of tricky. And I've struggled with this as a Notre Dame fan. And I've been thinking about this. And I think I brought it up to Goolsby on one of the Patreon episodes. So Notre Dame's on this winning streak, and I feel like Marcus Freeman seems a lot more comfortable, calm, and confident in the way he's operating as far as his sideline demeanor, as far as how he's presenting things, and how he seems to have found a comfort level with himself. So my question is, this is a chicken and the egg thing. Does Freeman seem more calm and confident and competent and all that because we're on a winning streak? Or are we going on a winning streak because the head man is more confident and comfortable and how he's going about his business? And I don't have the answer to that. But I just feel like Freeman's finding some stability here where it used to be up and down and he didn't know how he wanted to handle things. It just seems like you're pretty stable. What do you make of it?
I 100% agree, John. That's a great question.
Somebody just wrote it's both, which is the best answer yet. Is like a little bit of it is he's doing better at his job and it makes the team better, but the players themselves are taking the reins and winning these games, and then that makes him relax in what he's doing. So maybe it is a perfect plan. That's a good answer. Thanks, Josh.
What about this? What about this, John? I thought about this too. You know, we watched Notre Dame football for years, right? How many times do we get a five, or when we do get a 5-star, or we do get a great player, they come to Notre Dame and just the pressure of Notre Dame just gets to them right there. The quarterback's supposed to be this and that, and for some reason it just doesn't look right at Notre Dame. What if it's just Notre Dame's like the Yankees or like the Lakers or like the Cowboys, right? The spotlight is always on Notre Dame football. So maybe sometimes the pressure is just too hard for these guys. When you lose the NIU. Well, the season's, quote, the season's over at this point. Might as well, the pressure's off, Riley Leonard, well, you might as well go, balls to the wall. Might as well don't worry about anything at this point. Just now we can be free. Now we can play.
Yeah.
What if they're still undefeated? Maybe if they're still undefeated, they're not playing this loose, they're not playing this good. Maybe they're squeaking out wins like how they were in 2012.
Yeah. Man, I've thought about this too, man. This is sick. There is a world where if they get through this last 3 games and don't lose any, there is a world where there could be an article written like maybe Northern Illinois' humiliation was the best thing that could happen for this team. And it sounds so bizarre to say, but you could make the argument of like, they needed a big kick in the face and a wake up call to get serious about their business. And here you could make that article and that video, but you can't do it until after the USC game and you got to win, right?
Absolutely.
But man, that is, yeah, right. Okay, but wait, you could also say though, it should never come to that. Like you're at Notre Dame, you shouldn't need that kind of thing to kick your ass into gear, right? You could say that too.
Yep, and that's what's the frustrating part, right? Every year we see the talent, the potential we have, and it says, why aren't they playing free? Why aren't they playing loose? Why don't they look like some of the other teams that you talk about? They can pass the game and do slants and stuff. So it's just something. I feel like they're just playing loose. I feel like they're just going out and playing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's man. So, but what an interesting journey. Any thoughts on the playoff thing and where Notre Dame sits? I just think if you keep winning, you may be in a position to host a game and then we just see who it's against. Like, I don't have that many other. Notre Dame just needs to keep winning and let carnage happen around them. That's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I agree, John. I'll just leave it at it. Yeah, just keep winning. Everything will take care of itself. I'm not going to worry about the seeding or anything like that. I know we went out, we'll get in, and then hopefully we're hosting a playoff spot somewhere. But yeah, I mean that's all I got for John. I think I think we're in a good spot, and hopefully we can all be celebrating here. So go Irish!
Hey man, I really appreciate the call. I always love first time callers. Thanks for being a long time listener. Save the number. Give me a call again, man. Crystal clear phone lines too. You're on the top of the list. Thank you. I love it.
Absolutely, John. We'll do.
Have a good one, buddy. Oh, I love first-time callers. And I got to tell you, a lot of them are usually pretty nice. Couple super chats. And then we'll go back to the callers. Tim's always animated. So we're going to see what he has on his mind. Oh, he's always animated. I never know what I'm going to get for Tim, but I know he's going to light up the phone lines. Here's something I'm going to say. I'm just going to call timeout. SPF. Dude, I love you, man. I love you. It can't be. SPF's an LSU person here every single day and takes my crap and all of my anti-Brian Kelly. He sits through all of it. Like, I respect this guy so much. Like, SPF, I want to take you out for like a steak dinner, man. And just like literally just take you out for a night to thank you for dealing with my crap. You do not have to be here, right? Like, you do not have to be here and listen to me just talking crap nonstop against your man, and you're here every day, dude. I love you. Like, I genuinely respect it. Listen, I love my Notre Dame people because this is a Notre Dame show. But I have a special affinity for those that follow other teams. Eric from the Ohio Pod, SPF, the Bama guy, the Texas A&M guy. We got a couple Ohio State people. Like, I really do. There's a special appreciation I have for my loyal people that are here every day that love other teams. Because, like, I'm a psycho with this stupid Notre Dame stuff. Like, I get it. So, SPF, I do. You're one of my favorite people just because you're willing to deal with all my weird stuff. 80s guy, BK plus the fake accent plus the fake punch in the table. BK's fake. Dude, what a great picture. I'm just so darn mad. I'm just so mad. He's so, God, it's funny. All right, couple more chats here. Let's see what we got. Look at this from Jay. BK should have put that Tiger on defense. Yeah, the $2 hour. Here's what I don't understand, you guys. How in the world do you have that nightmare? See, here's SPF. Here's a part of the problem people have with Brian Kelly. Against A&M, that they brought in the mobile quarterback and he ran it all over you. You weren't able to stop it, and it's why you lost the game. Okay. Because of that guy, you couldn't stop the quarterback from taking off on you. Then you have a bye week, and you know you have Milroe coming, and it's the same problem, but it's not a surprise like them starting the other quarterback at A&M and not Wegman. You know damn well that Milroe's going to take off on you and do that. You had a half a month to sit there in your break on your bye week and prepare for a running mobile quarterback, and you came out and did nothing. Like, that's the reason people question Brian Kelly. What did you do for half a month? You knew damn well Milroe was going to run it on you, and it caused you a problem against A&M. Did you not work on that at all for a half a month? Or are you just that bad at football? It's really frustrating just on a football perspective. I mean, I love the result, but it's from a football perspective, it'll make you lose your mind. This is the Brian Kelly type stuff that makes people lose your mind. What did you do for half a month if you weren't preparing to stop another running quarterback? $10 holler from Ryan Elliott. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Feel free to type in a comment once in a while, man. John, you're an idiot. Here's $10. Whatever. Michael Urson is in the zone. $2 holler. Would love to see Indy sledgehammer USC for 250 yards. Yeah, listen, man. Listen. That's going to be a tough ball game. And I'm really interested. Listen, this whole USC thing feels different. Now that they changed quarterbacks after their break, I want to see how they come out and how they look. They get a mobile quarterback now. Maybe they get some energy and momentum towards the end of the year, and it changes the narrative and the vibe and the feeling when Notre Dame goes out west to Hollyweird. I'm telling you, that whole state, earthquake right into the ocean. John will never blink. Get my Notre Dame people out of there. One airplane full of my Notre Dame people that I know that are out there. Get them out of there. Earthquake. Oh, there goes California. Nobody will miss it. I'm telling you, nobody will miss it. Texas Mac, neutral sites after this year. No more cold games for the Southern boys. Ding, 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 ding. How long could you imagine a scenario where Notre Dame, Penn State, and Ohio State host? I'm just throwing this out there. Don't go, oh, John, the bracket won't allow it. Ooh, I'm a nerd. I'm looking at the bracket. Just in theory, could you imagine a world where Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Penn State host 2-loss SEC teams that have to go, and it's snowy in South Bend, it's snowy in Pennsylvania, and it's windy and cold in Ohio? How many cycles of the playoff do you think they're going to agree to that to? My prediction is when they negotiate to move from the 12 to the 14 teamer, that's where they're going to go. We can't do that anymore. Competitive advantage or whatever. And the SEC pulls its levers, throws its weight around in the room. Not Ward Manuel's weight. That's a different kind of weight. The SEC is going to throw their weight around the room and try and get that change because they're not going to want to go play in the cold. They're not going to want it. So that's how I see that happening. $10 olive from the local source. I was at the game last weekend. Night games at ND are special. Really fun. From the start, when the paratroopers landed in the stadium, DJ Cool, to the end where we were doing the mock chop. Great job, ND. There you go. And again, local source. Callers up coming to you. Local source. Here's the thing, man. I predicted this was going to be a very good environment, even though Florida State's bad. And the reason is the wine and cheesers I know, the big stroker Notre Dame people I know that have season tickets that own banks around here, and like the big strokers that I know in the suburbs, funeral home owners, like the people I know that are big Notre Dame people that have money in these companies that they entertain clients, whatever, and they have. None of them go to these night games. They're not getting home at 1 or 2 in the morning, driving from the Chicago area over there. They don't want to get home at 1 or 2 in the morning. And they're definitely not going to a night game in November where it's cold. They don't want to be cold. That's not what they're there. Like, they don't even go. So they give the tickets to like their kids in their 20s, and then they drink beer and they're loud and they want to be there and they're young. But those wine and cheesers at that level that I know, they don't go to these night games. You're getting home too late from Illinois, and they don't love Notre Dame enough to pay. The money's not the problem, but they don't want to give up the time to pay to stay there overnight. They're not doing that. They don't care about football that much. It's all about BSing with their clients and all this crap. So none of those wine and cheeses were at the game because it's a night game and they're going to be chilly. I don't want to go. I'm going to be cold. It's November. And if it isn't 75 and sunny, I don't want to go. I hate these people. These are not football fans. I do not respect these people. Son of a buck. I wouldn't fault Freeman for losing to USC. We know USC is getting up and moving furniture for Indy. SPF, dude. The world may as well come to an end. If Notre Dame makes this run and doesn't lose from Northern Illinois and runs it all the way out to USC with the playoff on the line and a USC team that has a handful of losses and you go out there and get beat, this place is going to be a nightmare. The whole tone's going to be a change. People are going to say the year's a failure. You're not making the playoff. You might actually play Brian Kelly in the Cheez-Its Bowl. Like, everything's ruined at that point. I get what you're saying. I'm saying my ecosystem is going to burn to the ground if that happens, to tantalize us, to tease us by winning all these games in a row till that one, and then you're out of the playoff. Are you out of your mind? My thread here is going to be a disgraceful nightmare. Woof, bro. $5 hour from Callahan Auto Parts. Going to the Virginiana game. game. Where do I park? I don't care. However early I need to be there. Well, that depends on what you want to do. The Commander, $2 hour. What team's losing? Is Notre Dame a contender? Commander, I'm not being rude. I'm not sure I'm following what you're asking me. What team's losing? Is Notre Dame a contender? I don't know what that means. I'm not trying to be rude, Luke. Let me see this. Going back to the calls. Where do I park? It depends on what you want to do. It depends on what you want to do. If you have people tailgating that are in the stadium lot or whatever, you park somewhere and then you can walk over there or take the bus. Maybe just park in the white lot and take the bus to where all the action is. You could do that. That's easy. Like, I used to do the white lot before I was hosting all these tailgates. You literally get off the toll road and you don't even make a turn. You just go straight. It's $25 or whatever. You park in a grass field. Then you take a bus and they drop you out by Touchdown Jesus, and then you're right on campus and everything's happening. If you want to drink a beer in that lot, you can. There's just not a lot of action because it's the middle of a grass field and it's very far away. The only tricky part is when I used to do white lot, I would walk back to my car, even though it's a long walk, because I absolutely refuse to wait in a 9,000 person line for a transfer bus after the game. I'm not doing that. I'm absolutely not doing that. So I will take the bus there because it's spread out and you're not time constrained. People all want to go at different times before the game to head to Touchdown Jesus. But after the game, I'm walking because there's zero chance John's waiting an hour and a half for 9,000 old people to get on the bus to go to the white lot. I'm not doing it. So no. So I walk it. But it is kind of a long walk. Yeah, Chief, you walk the first time and ride it back. You're doing the opposite I do. You're doing the opposite. I want to get the hell out of there. It's $50 now for the white lot. There you go, man. Notre Dame. That piece of grass doubled that. The muddy grass there doubled in value. Why? Just because it's Notre Dame. It drives me nuts the way these guys print money. Think about it. $50 for you to park your car in an empty field where there's nothing else going on. It's just an empty dirt and grass field, and it's $50. It's unbelievable what you can print money for these days, man. It's literally just a field. Tim, what's going on, buddy?
How you doing, John? A couple of perspectives. Navy is not technically done because Army's in first place with no losses. Tulane is second with 1, and Navy has 1. But Navy plays Tulane in a week, so they could still they would win the tiebreaker if they beat them.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't say that I paid very close attention to Navy after we beat them.
I just looked it up because it helps our strength of schedule.
Yeah.
But the other, and then I'll move on to my point about Jerry Faust. People got to remember, because I have a great perspective of that. He was there my freshman year started. He laid the groundwork, and there were a lot of key players that played on the 88 and 89 team that he recruited. His problem was you can't go from just coaching high school football. Great program at Muller, because I went to St. X, big rival of theirs. You can't go from there to Notre Dame, because even Holtz and Parsina said they needed all the years of experience to handle the Notre Dame job. He was in over his head. He tried to do everything. And I was a manager, and his practices were run like high school. Followed up the second year that I was there, Holtz came in. It was like a Fortune 500 company. Night and day how a practice was run. So God love him, may he rest in peace, one of the greatest men ever. They wanted him to win, but the board of directors did not want Father Joyce to hire him because they were trying to de-emphasize football. You know how Notre Dame goes through that. They get too powerful in football. They want to bring it down.
Yeah, it's unfortunately Notre Dame has a weird history of that. It's just a little interesting. Tim, what do you make of the playoff? What do you feel about the way these rankings are going? Are you seeing any trends with this committee early on that make you feel good or bad about it? You feel like Notre Dame's being treated fairly? What do you think?
I break it down by numbers. All right, there's 12. The 12th is automatic, the seed, the Power 5, non-Power 5 thing. What Notre Dame's looking at is if they win out, can they get to the 7th seed? Because if you look at the Big Ten standings, they're getting 4 teams in. It doesn't matter who wins. It's just a matter of where they're seated. The SEC is the one that gets dicey. They'll get 4 in, but could they sneak that 5th team in? And that's where, and then you're going seeding. Because 11-1 we're for sure in. Can we get up to the 8th, possibly the 7th? We're not going to get the 5 or the 6th because they're going to slate in the SEC and big teams into those 2 slots. So can we pull out the 8 or 9? That's the biggest question because that's what you're looking at.
Yeah,
I mean, you're hoping will they put a Georgia team in with 3 losses? I doubt it. But what do they do with Tennessee? What are they going to do with that 2-team loss?
Yeah. Do you agree with me that if too many Southern teams have to go play in Northern environments in round 1, that the powers that be?
100%.
Yeah, I think they're gonna try and change it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, they'll bitch.
Yep.
No, they'll lose their minds.
Yep.
They will not. No, they will not do that.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
No way in hell.
It'll be regional. It'll kind of be like the NCAA early round tournament where it'll be neutral site environments in these bigger cities and like whatever, and you don't have to worry about the weather. I'm telling you, I think that's the real deal that they're going to change that. So if you get a home game, you better enjoy it while it lasts. Can I ask you about Virginia? Tim, I'm really...
Oh, I'm worried about... Yeah,
Tim, last night, after the playoff thing, I was writing a couple articles about the playoff or whatever, and then I decided to start looking into my preview stuff for Virginia. I'm looking up some of their stats. I'm looking at their record. I don't know what to make of this team. I see them... some really good stuff and I see some really bad stuff and I'm just not sure what the reality is. What should I take away from this?
Let's go history. When do we ever get a less than A+ effort from somebody?
That's a good point. They all usually show up and show out on the big stage against Notre Dame. You're right.
And God love them. We've played great and I'm not taking anything away from that. But if you can lay a flat game and lose to Northern Illinois, anything is possible, like you've said the whole long.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'll go also back to a point.
Tim. Let me push back on myself. How many wins in a row in games that aren't particularly close? I think you could argue the only game that's been relatively close at all by the final score was Louisville in this middle part of the schedule. How many games past Northern does Notre Dame have to play competent, good football in before I need to back off my theory of if you could lose and play that bad to Northern, you could do it to anybody? Like, am I being unfair? How many games do they have to win by a lot before I start saying they've turned the corner and that is no longer a talking point of mine? Or do you think since it's this year, it applies the whole year? I'm battling my own brain with this theory.
I think part of it goes the whole year because the other thing, I'd have to go back, but the injuries that's the other thing that scares me. Are the injuries going to eventually catch up with us because we don't have the depth?
Yeah.
That's why I think if we get in, it could be a problem in the playoffs. And let's face it, we're not getting these guys back. They're out for the year.
Yeah, people are saying 10, John, which is win all the games and then you can let it go. And listen, you guys, I think that's fair. I'm just asking the question of it. I'm just asking the question of if anybody's turned that corner where they're so used to us winning now that you're not worried about it. If you're telling me they got to win them all this year, I'm right there with that's a fair perspective. I won't push back on that at all.
And we got to take care of Virginia. And then my whole theory back. Wouldn't it have been nice had we played Army week 0 and had 2 weeks to get ready for FC? Because you call out the priest and give me the last damn rights because I can see this happening. Win these 2 games and then go to that house of whores.
A house of who? What are you, Hugh Freeze?
Whores.
Yeah, I know. What I know. What are you, Hugh Freeze? Is that funnier to me than anybody else? Is that funnier to me than anybody else? But that's what I heard, and it made me laugh.
Okay, I know where you're going. I'm back on the cold, so I probably didn't come to.
Anyways, never mind.
No, I know where you're going. Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah. How about the house of pain?
There you go. Yeah, there you go. But the way you said it, it really did sound like that. And I'm like, oh, man, wow.
I know. I know what I said, and especially with my voice cracking. Apologize for that. No.
That's
that
funny.
Not my intent, trust me.
But even if it wasn't, it was funny.
But, yeah, I mean, Virginia is Tyree. I was shocked. Look at his stats. Although he's going to get a good advanced degree, I mean, he hasn't done that much for them this year. I don't know if they're not utilizing him. I haven't seen Virginia play.
Yeah.
But I pulled up his stats just because I was curious. So he's not. He's got 2 degrees. He's not playing on He's not playing on Sundays.
Yeah, it's man. I don't know what to expect. But Tim, Notre Dame cannot fall apart now. You have fought back so hard through the injuries. You're coming back. Listen, I know the schedule has not been murderer's row, but you've been doing what you need to do to move up the rankings and survive. You cannot fall off now. You have come too far. This team has fought back too hard. You got to win these 3 games. And then whatever happens in the playoff, we'll evaluate that almost separately. You got to finish off this miraculous comeback job. I would have bet a lot of money against Notre Dame running the table after Northern and with all the injuries they have. And instead, they just keep seemingly getting better, beating the crap out of teams. You got to give everybody credit, and you got to finish this off or it's all for nothing, Tim. Everybody's going to say this year's a failure if they don't pull it off. You got to win 3 more in a row.
I agree. But can I push it back a little bit on that schedule? Everybody bitches about our schedule. Let's look at this for a second.
Okay.
There's not too many teams. There might be one in the SEC that's beaten 4 top 25 teams in the current things. We've got Texas A&M. We've got, we've got Louisville.
Louisville's back and moving back. Yep. Army coming up.
The possibility to be Army. Okay. Now, the other point, you can't tell what a team's going to be. So you're going to criticize us for scheduling a program like USC and Florida State, which all time are 2 of your top 10 teams?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I make that argument all the time. It's really not Notre Dame's fault that Florida State and USC are having down years. Those are brand name opponents that should have.
And let's not forget the.
It's not our fault. It's not our fault. I didn't make Lincoln Riley bad.
And the big one, there's sons of bitches down in Florida that can't do math. We should have played Miami.
That's true.
And we got screwed on that one.
Yeah, that's true. And again,
not only we not get the game this year because and
Yeah.
help us. We got to open up the season with them next
But
year.
we're
They keep screwing us.
but we're the ones who get blamed for the weak scheduling when we tried to schedule them and they backed out of the game and said they couldn't do it. But we take the hit for that. I don't know what it's. I don't know, man. It's a little frustrating, but all you can do is just keep winning at this point.
Here's my rant. I don't get it. And I know it's not Christian. I try to be a better Christian. But I lost my damn mind when they gave a moment of silence for Bo Schembechler. That son of a bitch hated Notre Dame with every fiber of his body. His basketball team won a national title, and that was the first comment. He goes, this is like beating Notre Dame when they beat Seton Hall my senior year at Notre Dame. I lost my mind when they gave that moment of silence. But I'm telling you right now, they damn well better hire Jerry Faust. But if they give us a moment of silence for the fat man from USC, I will lose it. I will absolutely lose it.
Tim, I like you, man. I like you. You have some of the same little tweaks in your brain, your Notre Dame brain that I have, man. It's scary for us both, but I really like it. Like, it's dangerous, but I like it. I do. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for giving me a call. Appreciate it. Crystal clear phone line,
we can't
too.
choke this, but
we got good phone lines today. We got good phone lines today. Everybody's been crystal clear.
Let's go on. But I agree with you putting that. I'll go out and have a great weekend. We got to win. I like throwing the tight ends, but you guys, you can't have it both ways. You also want to hit the wide receivers. And I think these tight ends are just a little banged up, and they're just now maybe getting into shape. But it's a good little wrinkle to pull out. So let's be more diverse. I'm all for it. But I don't care who catches the damn ball, just get in the end zone.
Yeah. It's man, this is going to be a wild ride, man. We're counting it down, Tim. We got 3 more left. I got to ask you on the way out. Wait.
7 more, John.
Well, okay. Let me do
7.
Can I worry about one thing at a time?
If they do that moment of silence.
Can I worry about one thing at a time? You're getting pushback from my boss. You're getting pushback from my Sports Illustrated boss here, Nick Shepkowski. Come on, man. John Robinson was a legit good dude, he says. Is that sarcasm or is he serious?
Robinson, no. Are you kidding me? You guys are too young. No. You guys don't know the pain of USC. There was one reason why I grew up with it. They graduated in 1942. You won one game and you didn't give a damn as long as it was SC. No. McKay Robinson, no. You people lost your mind. Like, and I backpat on this. And I'm like 2 hours from Columbus. When they kept saying, we got to beat Ohio State, I said, you people lost your freaking mind. Go root for another school. You don't know the history of Notre Dame. You're clueless. Please, go root for another school. And Pat said, no, we got to beat SC. It's always got to beat SC. You don't know the history of Notre Dame football. And you also, the other thing, you got me going, John. Now the other thing, the clowns that want to force us into the Big Ten. You have to go on YouTube and look up the documentary, the bigotry that Michigan had towards Notre Dame as Catholics. And you guys want us to sell out and join the Big Ten? I'll lose my damn mind.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it can't happen.
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. Tim, one more thing I got to ask on the way out is, how do you feel about LSU and what's going on down there? Just on the way out. Just wondering what you think about how it's going down there.
Love every second of it. If you give one piece of credit to that lazy son of a bitch who hated Notre Dame with a passion, then you're not a true Notre Dame fan.
Tim, I love you. Never change, buddy. Never, ever change. I love who you are. I love the all the personal angles you take with things. Never change, buddy. Thanks for the call.
Thanks for taking the call.
Have a good one. I love that guy. You never know what you're going to get. Okay, number 1 is, it's really good to see Andrew Gilmore's alive. We were literally, after this show, I was going to send him an email and say, dude, like, where are you? Did you pass away and we didn't get the memo? It's good to see you here, Andrew. Literally, you matter in this ecosystem when multiple people have reached out to me like, is Andrew okay? We need to email him. So it's just good to have you back, Andrew. Good to have you back. Also, SPF, dude, I'm so backed up on emails. I'm bad at it. I need to be better at it. I have a bunch of emails and direct messages. I need to get caught up. That's my fault. I will get back to you if you emailed me. SPF, I'm throwing this out in the ether because it would be the most Notre Dame-y thing ever. 716, you're coming up. It would be the most Notre Dame-y thing ever So I'm putting it in the water just because it's how my Notre Dame life's gone for 40 years. So I'm expecting bad things to happen. All this stuff, SPF, of me running my mouth about Kelly and running my mouth about and this, what's the playoff bracket going to look like? Whatever. The most Notre Damiest thing in the entire world of my existence that could happen would be Notre Dame to get to the end and then lose to USC on a last-second field goal, miss the playoff, match up with LSU in a meaningless bowl game, and then lose to them. And then I got to deal with all of that bragging when we're both the battle of the mids and both not good enough. I'm throwing the line in the water because it would be the most Notre Damiest thing that could ever happen to me in my entire life would be that exact scenario. It would be that. If anything is most like, if you said, John, in your Notre Dame life, how is this all most likely to end? In my 40 years and the cognizant decades I've had of Notre Dame, that's the most likely scenario is absolute heartbreak at the last second at USC, and then you match up with LSU in the Cheez-Its Bowl, and then lose to Kelly, and then I got to hear that, like, he's awesome when we're both in a game nobody wants to be in that doesn't matter. That would be it. That's how my Notre Dame life's gone. So excuse the scar tissue. Scar tissue that I wish you saw. Why can't we play winning football? I can't handle it. I can't handle it. I just can't do it. Heartbreak with a little irony. Story of my Notre Dame life. This is a good question, SPF. 716, I'm coming back to you. This is a really good question. Are you guys afraid of Notre Dame playing behind? I've thought of this. No one is going to say, you know, I wish my team didn't have a string of games where they're kicking the crap out of everybody. I've already said it before. I admit Notre Dame's not playing Murderer's Row, but for the teams you're playing, you're kicking the crap out of. So that's the best you could do. If you're not playing the best teams week to week, how do you prove you're good? You got to destroy the teams that are on the schedule, and you're doing a really good job of that. However, I do think it's fair to be like, okay, how does Notre Dame respond when they're really in crunch time again after all these games where they've been winning by a lot? It's great to avoid that scenario, but I have thought about it. And the other thing, SPF, is, and I'm sure you know football, Notre Dame's not built to score quick. That's another thing I'm thinking about. Like Notre Dame's not going to be behind a couple scores and then they're going to throw the ball 50 yards and they have a 1-minute scoring drive or whatever. That's not really how Notre Dame operates. So they want to control the game and get comfortable with what they're doing and not have to be like that because it ain't our strong suit. So I get what you're saying, and it's something Notre Dame may have to confront when you get into the playoff. Also, here's something else. I think I wrote about this too. I can't keep my articles straight. Which one's which? This whole come from behind thing, you can't. I don't want to have to be in that position, but if you're in that position, you might be in it in the playoff. But do you want Notre Dame to change how they're playing a little bit? Has anybody thought about that? Like in the playoff, are you going to have to do more to be able to move the ball against some of these defenses? So do you want Notre Dame to keep doing what they're doing? Or do you feel like as we get through November and head towards the playoff, they're going to have to stretch what they want to do a little bit to be more effective against better teams? Notre Dame has not been playing great defenses. What happens when they play a great playoff defense? Are you going to have to change what you're doing a little bit? Or can Notre Dame maintain their identity and do it the way they're doing it? I don't know. 716, you're in the mix. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, John.
Hey, first,
you.
I'm sorry. I made you wait way too long. I'm sorry, man. I just go off. Hey, listen, off, man.
Listen, I know. Let me tell you something that happened. And this is, you can take it with a grain of salt. So while I was at work about the last 4 years before I retired several years ago, the guys down there, some of them knew me from when I was a kid, and everything I wanted to do it right. I wanted to make it right the first time, make it perfect, whatever. As a Christian, I try to do everything the way it's in God's house. Well, some guys were screwing some things up, and I was actually the guy that did customer witnesses and stuff, leveled bases, set things. Anyways, So what happened was, kid I knew come to me, Howie, and he says to me, Todd, just let it go. Let it go. Well, then I learned what he was talking about. When you talk about Kelly could care less what you're saying because he's got his millions. But it puts you in the prison and him on the outside.
It's a good point. That is a very
puts you in the
mature.
prison and him on the outside.
That is a very,
he
very.
could care less about what you're saying.
Yeah, that's.
Just let him listen.
That's good.
Let him stew in his own juices. He's gonna cut his throat somewhere along the line. He said when he came to Notre Dame, "This is my dream job." Remember that? My dream job. And I'll tell you when I noticed something was wrong. I called my kid Chris and I said, "Chris, you watching the Notre Dame game?" "Yeah." I said, "Kelly doesn't seem really like he's interested in this game." It was the last game against Stanford at Stanford. I said, "We just had a big play," and he's like, got his arm in his elbow, and he's got his finger, it's a forefinger and his thumb around his jaw. And I'm thinking he's not even doing anything. Usually he's congratulating the players, saying something, whatever. And it was absolutely nothing. I said, his mind is someplace else. I said, Chris, it's someplace else. Shortly after that, what happened? Bolton to LSU. And I could just tell from that Stanford game, just the way he looked on the sidelines, he's not interested in this game. Something's going on.
Yeah.
And then we found out.
I got to tell you, Todd, that is a very, very mature perspective. And I appreciate the insight. And I hope to maybe mature to the point where I can let some of this roll off my back and not take shots or take it personally. But very mature perspective by you. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. It's like, look, we need to focus on our team. We don't care about everybody else. We need to focus on our team.
It's a good point.
Now, the other thing I'm going to tell you, if you remember a week ago, I told you this. I went back and tried and find it, but it wasn't posted at all on your Always Irish on YouTube or anything. I remember telling you, if you remember this, I said, I think Georgia Tech's a really good football team. I said, just that Notre Dame is a whole heck of a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I think they're going to beat Miami. Then I told you I felt that Mississippi, with Kiffin, they had found some sort of stride because Jackson Dart had thrown, 5 or 6 touchdown passes the previous week. I said, I believe they're going to beat Georgia. And what happened? They beat Georgia.
Well, Todd,
so ask me how I get these feelings.
Did you have a little money? Did you profit a little bit from this? I mean, I know you're trying to be Christian and all, but did you have some shekels on these games or make a little profit? Come on, man.
No. Listen. I gave
just for the sense of being right? The pride of being right is enough, right?
Yeah, because I told people and they're like, no. I said, listen, I've got this feeling. And I'll make this a quick story. In 1978, this guy at Dresser, John, in the tool crib, used to get this thing out of Rochester, and it was a spreadsheet about basketball, everything football. I picked the 4 NFL playoff games, and I picked the 4 bowl games, and it was a year that Lou Holtz in '78 kicked his 2 starting running backs off of Arkansas's team. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they ended up beating Oklahoma. I know they won the game because and you had to do the point spreads. And if you picked 8 and got them all right with the point spread, it was 75-1. I told the guy at work, an older guy, Walt Kokowski, I said, Walt, play this thing, will you? Well, I got sick. And John, I was so sure this was going to hit, I was going to borrow $1,000 from my grandmother. This is a true story. I was going to borrow it. And I was sick and I couldn't. I ended up in the hospital, couldn't get to work to put it because it was in my toolbox. And Walt said later, he goes, why didn't you just tell me and give me the key? I could have got in it and done it for you. Well, anyways, I asked John, and I showed John. The other guy showed John that I had picked them all right. And I said to him, I said, would they have paid me the $75,000? Now, listen to what he said. This came out of Rochester, and we're like 20 minutes from the PA border down here in Olean. And he says to me, he goes, Todd, they would have come down and paid you personally, and they would have told you, don't play it again and don't ever help anybody play it. So who tells you who was running that? Who was running that? But I've had this. I've watched the 96 World Series Yankees, and my buddy's sitting next to me. I said, Layrich is hitting the home run on this pitch. He hits the home run. He goes, how'd you know that? I said, I seen it. I seen it happen. And this just happens with me. And defense.
You are not Nostradamus. You're Notre Damus. I like it. What do you make of Virginia, Todd? I'm having trouble when I'm breaking down my preview stuff. I'm having trouble trying to figure out exactly what this team is. They got a handful of losses, but sometimes they play good. They beat Pitt and people like that, but they got blown out by North Carolina right before that. I can't keep track. So what do you think the reality of this is?
Okay, where did they play? Here's the thing. They have a better road record than they do a home record. They're 3-1 on the road. That's
interesting.
A problem.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Apparently, when they go on the road, they're more focused. I remember telling you in a former chat I had with you, my son David said, "Dad, why is it Notre Dame can't get focused and play good at home? Distractions. They go on the road. Apparently, there's no distractions. They're 3-1. I don't know who their loss was to on the road, but distractions can play a big part in how you play your football
that's
game.
Interesting. You know what I thought interesting when I looked at their stats is how equal it is. They're 81st on offense and 82nd on defense from everything I looked up. That's very, very equal as far as their offense and defense rankings of where they both are, points scored and points allowed, and they're right there. And I just see them up. I see them down. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this.
22-3, I think is the spread. 22.5, 23 points. Notre Dame's favorite.
22.5 is the spread. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm looking at the record right now. They beat Richmond at home. They beat Wake Forest away. They lost to Maryland at home.
Yep.
They lost to Louisville at home. They lost to
Clemson
on the road. That's their only road loss. And they lost to Carolina at home. So their losses are at home because they beat Pitt on the road, and they lost to Clemson on the road. And then on the road they beat Coastal Carolina. And they pretty much smacked them around 43-24. And their wins at home, like I said, were Richmond, Boston College, when Boston College had that quarterback that could scramble.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the only game they lost on the road was Clemson. But at home they don't play well. So I'd say distractions. I would be concerned about them. They probably have a mentality. We're going into this place. We're the underdog.
Yeah.
We're going to show them what we have for fight.
Yeah. And, it's interesting. And you know what else, Todd? You know what else I'm thinking about? And people have brought it up in the chat. What if Notre Dame's a 22.5, 23-point favorite and they win, but it doesn't look that great this week? I wonder if that changes the rankings at all when the playoff committee comes out and they start looking at a 2-loss Georgia. And they look at that a little differently if Notre Dame's not blowing a team out at home when they're a 22.5-point favorite. I'm just wondering where that line is. Or is it just if Notre Dame with their one loss keeps winning, they're gonna be fine? I don't know. Just asking.
Well, the thing is, you got to win all 3 games one at a time. Same way you eat a steak, right? You only take one bite at a time. So you got to take every game one game at a time. But I do know this. I love Greg McElroy because he has a big problem like we have a big problem. Why is Penn State ranked where they're ranked? Why are they ranked there?
They don't have any wins. They have no wins that impress me at all.
Right. They beat Illinois when Illinois was ranked.
Yeah.
And then they had a close game with Ohio State. But
even in the close game against Ohio State, they totally peed down their leg when it mattered the most. Like they choked. Yeah. They got all down there with the chance to do something. They kept choking. Like I don't. It's a brand thing. It's just the same reason they're ranked 6th in the preseason poll every single year. For some reason, they're getting all this credit. I don't know.
Well, it could be. How about East Coast bias out of the AP?
I mean, but the usual argument is if you're an SEC team or a Big Ten team, the usual argument is, well, you're playing a tough schedule, blah blah blah. And these you're really not. It's amazing that schedule and Indiana so far for a Big Ten team to have Indiana's schedule so far is unbelievable. They've not played anyone at all. Let's see them. I want to see them in Ohio State. I want to know the reality with this Indiana team. Play Ohio State. I want to see them against that talented roster.
Well, Here's something that'll interest you. Georgia. Last 3 games of the year for Georgia, right? Tennessee at home, University of Massachusetts at home, and Georgia Tech at home. They finish up with 3 home games with a cupcake in between.
Interesting.
And then you have SMU. Now here's my thing. Here's the team that I think is going to lose. And I'll tell you who it is. BYU. The reason they're only a 3-point favorite is because Kansas kicked the crap out of Iowa State at Iowa State last week. That's why they're a 3-point favorite. So they got Kansas at home. They have Arizona State on the road. Now, Arizona State, and who else is in that? Arizona State, Kansas State, and Colorado. Well, no. You got Kansas State, Arizona State, only have 2 losses in conference. Colorado has 1. BYU has none. So you might be looking at a BYU Colorado showdown here, which would be really interesting. Because what are they going to do then? Colorado and Prime would automatically get a bid if they won that.
Yeah,
they won the Big 12.
Man, you got it all covered. I like you got all the angles. I'm calling you uncut gems, man. You're like Adam Sandler in that gambling movie. Wheeling and dealing, baby. Todd's out here wheeling and dealing into the New York streets, baby.
So let's look at the SEC. The SEC has a Texas team at 4-1. This is all conference, 4-1. Then they have a Tennessee team at 5-1. Then they have this is how they're ranked too. Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, all 4-2. So this game with Tennessee, who do we want to see win? Do we want to see Tennessee win and end up going to a playoff, or do we want to see Georgia win?
Okay,
and maybe
I've thought
even
about
get
this.
into the playoffs?
I've thought about this. In your mind, you might say, if Tennessee loses, they have 2 losses. Georgia still has 2 losses. Notre Dame stays ahead of them both. But are you considering that maybe this committee, if Georgia gets a big win over Tennessee, they go, well, that's impressive. Even though they have 2 losses, put them ahead of Notre Dame. That's a question I don't know about. How's the committee going to do it? Because they would both have 2 losses. Does Notre Dame stay ahead of them or not? Because that'll be considered a really good win. It'll be considered a really good win by them.
Here's the team that's not getting the respect in the SEC is Texas A&M. They're 5-1 in conference.
Yeah.
They're 5-1 in conference, and Texas is 4-1.
I think the Texas game's gonna. The Texas game is gonna.
5-1.
The Texas game's gonna tell you the answer there. But they totally fell off any credibility they had after their bad loss, after the big win against Kelly, and they fell off. And I haven't heard a word about them since. Right in the mix. You're right.
Yeah, they're in the mix for. Listen, you might not be ranked as high as you think, but some of these teams are still in the mix for conference championships, because you got, let's see, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Colorado's 19th, and they could go to the conference championship and win. So we got a lot of stuff. Like Clemson is 6-1, and they got Pitt at Pitt this weekend, who beat them there a couple of years ago and screwed up their whole chances for stuff. And then they have, and this is the spoiler in all of this. This team I'm going to tell you next is the spoiler, because I told you last week they aren't that bad, and that's South Carolina. South Carolina right now, it could be the spoiler for a lot of things, because I believe they end up playing Clemson at the end of the year, and I'm trying to see if they play that year. And then a lot of teams this week they're ranked that are getting buys. Oh, and they play Missouri this week.
Missouri.
So Missouri's 7-2. Yeah, so you got a Missouri at 7-2 in conference. Kelly's got only 2 losses in conference. So you got a lot of teams there. South Carolina 6-3. But anyways, so this stuff's got a long ways to go to get sorted out. But like I said, I love Greg McElroy. He says, I don't understand why Penn State is ranked where they are
Me
ranked.
neither.
And
I don't
wrote
get
a whole article on it.
It's a Big Ten team
Now, listen,
and a big brand name, but it's really annoying. I don't know. And I know Andrew Gilmore said they had some decent road wins and USC or whatever. It's just, and I guess I don't know where you should rank them if they're a Big Ten team with 1 loss. I don't know, but it's just kind of annoying. Well,
here's the other team that he has a problem with ranked where they're ranked. and that's Texas. He has a problem with Texas ranked where they're ranked.
But I get it, but it's you got to rank these teams somewhere. Like, I understand the argument, but it's like you got to put these teams somewhere, I don't know. So I think it's all going to work out. Todd, I got to run. I got a hard out here. Anything on the way out? Thanks for the breakdown, buddy. I'm going to go to you for my gambling from now on.
I told you I don't do that. My kid called me once.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't do it? You just broke down every game in the country and every angle. What do you mean you don't do it? You just did it for 20 minutes.
I don't do the money thing. I don't do the money thing. He calls me and he says, real quick, he calls me. I had a men's breakfast. He calls me and he says, he's talking to me about something. He goes, oh, by the way, Dad, I got these 10 teams and here's the point spread. He goes, I said, Chris, you're not going to use this to gamble with. I'll give you what I feel, but okay. So he gives them to me.
But be responsible. Be responsible about this information. Yeah.
So I said to him, oh man, I don't know what I want to do this one. I'm going to go this way, even though I think I shouldn't. If I'd have gone the way I should have in the first place, I'd have hit 8 out of 10 with the point spreads. Instead, it was 7 out of 10.
Telling you, man.
I told him, don't call me and tell me don't tell me you're going to gamble this, because I said I'll call Logan and I'll ask Logan if you're doing this
next
and
week.
She'll tell me
next week. Give me a call back on some stock tips. Okay, let's just hit it all, buddy. Hey, thanks for the call, Todd. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
So just go Irish, and just stay focused. He'll have them ready. He'll have them focused. And the last thing, that caller that called and said ranked teams, he forgot we played Navy when they were a ranked team.
There you go. There we go. The Notre Dame schedule is beefing up. Thanks, Todd. Have a good day, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Have a
See ya.
blessed week.
Yep. Oh, sorry to cut him off there, man. That guy likes himself some football talk. All right. 2 things I want to wrap up on here. Number 1 is Andrew Gilmore mentioned, just glad to know you're alive, buddy. Andrew Gilmore mentioned Riley Leonard's legs being a big X factor for Notre Dame the rest of the year and in the playoff. Andrew, it's really interesting. Again, I have an article submitted in Sports Illustrated that hasn't gone live yet, and it's called Notre Dame's Playoff X Factor. And the whole point of it is you got the good defense, you got your 2 backs you love, but Riley Leonard's ability to make something out of nothing or take a dead play and run and escape. That's what my whole thing was. He could be a difference maker there as an X factor. So Andrew, I'm right there with you. The article will come out today or tomorrow. Might have already gone up today. I don't know, but I'm right there with you that could be an X factor for Notre Dame. And then something Bama Charlie brought up. Is the Notre Dame O-line good enough to do what you need to do against some better defensive fronts? I don't know, but it's on my list of major questions. As much as that group has developed from a line that started the season with only 6 starts and then had all those injuries and the inexperience, losing both your tackles, losing Jagasaw, we know all this. You're down to like your 7th or 8th guy in some of these places. I've asked myself that. Will they be able to hold up? Will they be able to hold up against a better defensive front? I like what our defensive front's doing, but I do wonder if you got against like a real heavy offensive line, they wanted to lean on you and pound you a little bit. Does Notre Dame have the beef in there to hold up? And so those are some bigger scale questions that I do have, but I do think it's interesting, that X Factor thing. It's really interesting. I think Riley Leonard could be that. Do you know how many plays should have been sacks for -7 yards, but Riley Leonard navigates in the pocket and moves around just enough to make it a good play? Like, it's just a big, it's a big benefit. And it was more important earlier in the year when the line was really shaky too. All right, you guys, that's going to be it. I got something I got to do at 11, hop on a call here. I don't know why. Really animated show today. I don't know. I love this environment, and I love doing this, and I love freaking out about everything. Top 10 finalists for the Joe Moore Award. Wrote an article about that too. I don't know when that's going to come out, but I submitted it. Yeah, that's the thing, man. All these freaking problems you have with this O-line and everything, and they're still in the running for the Moore Award. I don't think they're going to get it, obviously, but the fact that you have this disaster this disaster you were dealing with, and you've turned it into a functional O-line as a credit to Rudolph, the red-nosed lineman coach. He got the guys to play good, even though everybody's bodies were broken like wood. I don't know. I'm making things up. John loves the ocean. John does not like the ocean. John is not meant for the ocean. I'm a Midwest guy. Bad situation with the Atlantic. I go on a cruise and a guy jumps off in front of me and ends it all, and the whole cruise is ruined for everybody. This is my life, you guys. John goes on a relaxing cruise. What happens? A guy jumps off the 10th floor in front of everybody, and then we're bobbing around the Atlantic Ocean all night looking for his carcass. The Coast Guard's got to come. The cruise is ruined for everybody. It throws off the schedule of the cruise, so everybody misses their flights home because we're a day behind looking for this guy's body. That's my experience with the Atlantic, right in front of John. Oh, John's going to relax. I was working, running graveyards. God forbid John wants to have a little break from death. I go on this cruise, and there goes the guy overboard. There he goes. There goes John's vacation. Everybody's crying. Oh, I saw this guy jump. Everybody's throwing their life jackets in. We're bobbing around in a circle all night looking for this guy's carcass. That's the Atlantic. Go over to the Pacific. That's where I almost drowned snorkeling. Sharks below me, water in my blowhole. I'm almost drowning. I honestly thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to drown. Water in my blowhole. My flipper didn't work. I'm in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. There's waves in my blowhole. I don't understand. They give you this pipe to breathe through. You can't breathe through the pipe underwater with waves coming above you. The waves went in my blowhole. So I'm choking on salt water. My flipper's broken. Everybody I'm with's gone. 8 miles out, swimming somewhere. There's tiger sharks below me. I'm not kidding. Them sharks that look like a leopard print, they're below me. I'm not meant for the ocean. I'm a Midwest dude, man. I'm a Midwest dude. So when I go to the beach, man, I maybe go where I got to be. I ain't going any deeper than like knee deep. Let me just put some water on me, and I'll sit on the beach and watch the ladies walk by. Who needs these problems? Honestly, who needs these problems? I'm never going on another cruise again. All it takes is one nut to ruin everybody's trip. I'm never doing it again. And you know what else with the cruise? Too many damn people. Too many damn people on a cruise. I go on vacation to get away from people. You go on a cruise, everywhere you go, you're in a line with 1 million old people. That's not vacation in my mind. I ain't. So I got problems with the Atlantic, and I got problems with the Pacific. So maybe I could hit another ocean and have better luck. But I ain't doing good with these two. Son of a buck. All right, this show is over. This is off the rails. God, I love this show. I can't believe I do this for a living. I'll see you guys later.